All right. Now we're working. Okay. I'm going to start over. Nick, is it working? Okay. Let's give it some time here. It's definitely getting signal. So whether it's
There might
working,
be a lag.
there may be a lag. So
I got you.
okay. Okay. This is my bad. Totally my fault because I am a sorry. I've been rambling on, and I sounded really good too. By the way, you guys don't know this, but I'm a technology moron. Now, I would never admit I'm a moron about anything else because I feel that I'm fairly intelligent, fairly smart about a lot of different things. But when it comes to technology, I'm a real idiot. And I have three screens here, okay? Just so you know, I have that's how I go and maneuver and watch all my stocks and all that. But it's powered by a laptop on this cartridge. So you press the laptop on this cartridge, it powers everything up. This way, the reason I did that, thank you to Jinx IT, which they're awesome, because when I travel or when I go somewhere, I want to be able to have all my office stuff on one computer. Okay. That being said, I brought my computer home and I did not plug in the microphone because I use an external microphone. So, thank you. I'm Lee Seiler, also known as the Stock Doctor, and we're back. So, let's start from the beginning. We have had an unbelievable first half of the year. This is something that nobody expected, of course. You don't expect a pandemic. It was a pandemic, a recession. It was, severe unemployment, everything that you can imagine. Oh, there we go. People are seeing now what's going on. Nobody says that about you. Okay. You guys are awesome. So, let's talk about what happened the first half of the year. Even though we've had a horrendous, 2020 in general has been a shit year, and people are not happy about it, and I get it because of the job loss and the problems and the health situation. So it's not been a great year. Financially, it's not been a great year for a lot of people, and I totally understand why. But when you look at it, we had the biggest drop in less than 30 days, the quickest in history. So we dropped 35 plus percent in like 23 days or something crazy like that. That being said, as of right now, and I'm not talking about today, let's talk about the end of the 6 months or the 2 quarters. The S&P 500 is down 3%, believe it or not, which is kind of not really accurate. And I'll go into that in a little bit. The Dow Jones, believe it or not, which I think is less of an index than the S&P 500, it is a little bit more accurate at what's going on. It's down 8.5%. Small cap stocks have taken it in the you know what, down 18. Mid caps down 13, almost 13. The Nasdaq Composite up 13%. So let's talk about the S&P 500 and why it's only down 3%. You know why? Because five stocks on the S&P 500 represent 20%. 20%, five stocks. So the problem with that, it's not a broad-based rally, although a lot of things went up. We know that the markets were probably overblown to the downside on March 23rd and late March. We've rallied up with no visibility to earnings, and this is probably why we're having some problems now. Although, yes, the month of June wasn't bad. Okay, the month of June we were up, and let me take the numbers here. S&P 500 up 2% month of June. The Dow up 1.8. So we had a good month of June. My concern is you got to start seeing earnings, and reopening is not going as smoothly as everybody thought it could be, because I don't want to call it necessarily a second wave. I don't want to call, we're getting more cases. So whether that's through testing or that's truly people that are sick, okay, I don't really know. Do any of us really know what the real scoop is? I know that it's taking people 5 to 7 days to get results. So that skews numbers. I know that there are a lot of asymptomatic people out there. That skews numbers. So let's talk about how we go from here forward. So here's what I look at. The top 5 stocks, by the way, and I'm going to give you a list of those top 5 stocks in the marketplace, meaning the top 5 represent 20% of the entire stock market. Well, when I say the entire stock market, S&P 500. 500 biggest companies in the world. Number 1, Apple. Market valuation, $1.58 trillion. Number 2, Microsoft. Market value, $1.56 trillion. Number 3, Amazon, $1.42 trillion. Number 4, Google, or Alphabet, the parent company, which I never want to call it Alphabet, $982 billion. And then Facebook, $674 billion. And I don't want to get into a lot of Facebook talk. By the way, thank you very much to the Alley in Sanford. You guys are awesome. And yes, you can't go and see live bands, but they do have singles and duos there. So go to the Alley and support them. They're awesome. And by the way, just so you know, they are attached to Fuel Barbecue, which is kick-ass barbecue. So go to Fuel Barbecue. Enjoy. I appreciate those folks. This is from them. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, Facebook, $974 billion. Now, what's interesting is companies like Tesla, and we'll talk about Tesla a little bit later. Tesla has $208 billion market cap. So just because it trades at $1,000 a share or $1,100 a share doesn't make it the most valuable company. And here's one thing that I think a lot of novice investors and the Robinhood people will know this. No, they don't, because they don't think they're novice. Robinhood people think they're sophisticated investors. But I tell you this, I know the Robinhood people would have fixed my microphone problem before this webcast started. So I'll tell you that. So Tesla trading. Now let's take a look at Tesla before we go any further, because we're gonna talk about a lot of things tonight. I'm not gonna go real long tonight. All right, only because there's no need to. There's the Fed minutes we're going to talk about briefly. And why am I not getting quotes here? All right, okay, now I'm getting quotes. Here we go. Let's take a look at Tesla, and let's go. So Tesla closed today at $1,119 a share. It was up $39. Nice move. And we told people, and I've been telling people, and I have to disclose, I don't own Tesla. All right, I have owned it. We've traded it back and forth. Obviously, trading it was not a smart move. Trading it was not great. I should have held it, but we made money on it several times. Okay. Look, I guess because part of it is I'm also a value guy too. I like to, when you're buying stocks, you're buying companies, you want to think that, hey, at least I represent and I'm buying a nice piece of a nice company with some value. Tesla, it's a great stock. Not sure it's a great company yet. We don't know this. But the stock certainly is performing well. And look, no doubt you had, unbelievable. This is a stock that went from that high there where they have the cursor. The high there is 944. Literally right down to a low of 358 and then rallied back up. So from 358, which is that's March 18th, 19th, it hit the low. 358 to 1100. For those of you that own Tesla, and I have some friends out there that own Tesla, that's awesome. Great move. Me personally, I'd probably take some chips off the table at this point, only because, now, you don't have to sell it all. That's the thing. And I took some positions off the table over the last couple of weeks. I took half position. So you don't have to sell it all. Sell half. Because you know what that means is? You're working with the house's money at that point. That's what you do in Vegas, right? When you're at the craps table, you're making some money. So, okay, I'm taking some of my money off the table and just playing with my profits. So, but Tesla's been a great performer. So, across the board, though, and the reason I talk about the weighting in the S&P 500, look, the market path of least resistance is certainly higher. It does appear the market wants to go higher. It was a remarkable quarter. It was the best quarter the S&P 500 is seen in 2 decades. So, in case you don't know, 20 years. ADP came out with their report on employment, and they come out with this beginning of the month, and they said that 2.3 million jobs were created in the month of June. Expectation 2.5, but here's what's odd. They had a revision. Their May number was down 2.76 million, but revised to up over 3 million. I don't get it, but I do think that the economy is going to rebound. I think that we are in the midst of it, no matter what happens with the shut. Look, I know that the service industry is just in disarray, and the poor folks that work at these places, and you can't sell drinks unless you serve food, yada yada yada. I get that. It's bullshit. I hate it for you guys, but I also understand they're trying to protect people. But I like to see both sides. Yes, it's not just the bars that is sending people to get tested and getting more tests done. It's not just the bars. It's everything. It's all of the behavior that when you're cooped up for months at a time, that you're just like, you know what, finally you can get out. So you're right. The folks over in Daytona that are really struggling and because they don't serve food, they're out of business. But I see both sides. I know I got a buddy of mine, Mikey. Mikey, you know who you are. He puts all his stuff on Facebook. He's a rebel, I guess. I don't want to be that kind of rebel because guess what? I have clients, and I have to be Switzerland. So, but it's funny how he, some of the things he says on Facebook, and not that him, but he gets it from places. And it says that I guess the coronavirus is not in Costco, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, but it's at a bar. It's just very interesting because it's really, when you see the restaurants, you need to be half capacity, you need to do this, but yet there are shitloads of people that were not wearing masks in Seminole County in Home Depot. I was in Home Depot the other day. Guess what? I wore a mask. I don't like it. Now, it did take the order for me to do it, but okay. So let's talk about sectors. And here's what's important, because you want to be able to participate in the markets. And I do believe, I'm going to tell you right now, I believe the market is higher. We'll take a look at the market itself. But I do believe the market will be higher December 31st than where it is today. And when I say the market, I mean the S&P 500. We're 3115, and I do believe the market will be higher. I think that we will probably try and get to the highs, and that's probably about it, because you have to see some earnings. So here we are, the high in the market, March 22nd, we were at the high trade was 33.93. Of course, here's the big 35% drop and the big 40-some% upside. Now we're consolidating right along the 50-day moving average, and right here is a MACD that is about to turn and give us a buy signal. And the month of July, by the way, is the best summer month for stocks. Usually the summer months are not great, but it is the best summer months for stocks. So here's what I think. We're at 31.15. I think the market's going to go up another 6, 7, 8%, and we're gonna find ourselves near the all-time highs again, right around near the election. And I also want to say this. This is not a political statement, but I think that both sides of the aisle probably need to prepare for a change in administration. That's what I think. And yes, one side's happy about it, the other side's not. But I just think that things are at the point where, voters are going to speak and they're going to say what they want to say. I just kind of see it. It's not as close as I thought it would be at this point. So let's talk about some sectors that are working. Technology has been working phenomenally. All right. And listen, we own some technology stocks. Semiconductors I owned. And here's what I did. I owned AMD recently. I sold it. I took a small loss on it. It broke my support level. I have to have some kind of discipline. I have to have some rules base to my investment management. And what happens is, this is the one of the reasons why I don't like using stops, but I did, is stock broke my support level, sold it, and now it's up, 5% above where it was. Shit happens. But IT is going to continue to do well because in a market where you don't see visibility, you don't see where the market's going, you don't see what company's going to make money, you can pretty much bet technology is. I think 5G is going to be huge. I think cybersecurity is huge. Biotech, huge. These are sectors I totally think that are going to do extremely well. The two sectors, only two sectors, by the way, two sectors, for my friends from Two Indians, by the way. I'll give them a little plug there. Check out Two Indians, my YouTube site. IT sector, up 15% first 2 quarters of the year. Consumer discretionary, check this shit out. Retailers, up 7.25%. That's because they had a big run here recently. Energy, down 35%, but we bought it at the low. We're making money in it. Financials, down 23%. Healthcare, down less than 1%. Real estate, not your primary homes, commercial real estate pretty much, REITs, things like that. They're down 8.5%. Precious metals up 15%. That's been a big win. So those have done really well in this market. So if you haven't done well in the market, meaning nobody should be up. Everybody's probably down, but you're hoping there are segments of your portfolio that are doing okay, and that's key here. We have questions coming in. Thank you, by the way, Nikki at StockDR.com. So for those clients, we have Nikki in the house. Nikki wants to know, Jackson asks, would you give us your take on Boeing this week? The stock has had quite a wild ride. Yeah, so we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I want to talk about the biotech sector. There's a lot going on in biotech, all right? There are going to be 5 companies that have a vaccine for COVID-19. Maybe more. I don't know. But today, news on Pfizer and a company, they teamed up, and this is how it works. The big drug stocks, the big drug companies team up with the smaller biotechs that get these grants and these scientists working on things, and they end up buying them out or work together, have some kind of agreement. But Pfizer and BioNTech, by the way, the ticker symbol for Pfizer is PFE, Paul, Frank, Eddie. BioNTech is Bob, Nancy, Tom, X-ray. They have a drug in phase 1-2 clinical trials called BNT162B1. So just go to your pharmacist and ask for BNT162B1. That should work for you. Actually, it's their most advanced at a 4. They have 4 drugs. 4 of the drugs are, so I said to me 5 companies coming up with a vaccine. Well, Pfizer and BioNTech have 4 they're working on. The one BNT162B1, 2B1, it's 2B1, that's why they do it. We are 2B1. That's 1 of 4. So let's take a look at the stock. First of all, Pfizer's not been a great stock for many years, and I've owned it in the past. Let's go to the chart. I've owned it in the past. It's not been incredible by any means. It pays a decent yield. Shit. All right. I'm sorry. I'm just clicking numbers here. Okay. So this is Pfizer's chart. Again, it's terrible. I don't like Pfizer at all. I don't like the stock has been not a great performer. See how it tanked, it rallied off the low, but then while the last couple of months, while the market's been doing well, it has not been doing well. So I don't like it at all. Today was a good day. You get a MACD buy. You probably have more upside in Pfizer in the short term. I don't own it. A trader, yeah, if I was a trader, I'd probably go in and buy some and pull a couple points out of it. And let's talk about their partner, BioNTech, excuse me. It's one of those biotech stocks that have no revenue, no earnings, no nothing. But again, it's just it's the unicorn. Okay, so let me do some comparison. I'm going to show you something because I like Lilly. the stock used to be called Eli Lilly. But now look at that chart, how it's done really well, didn't go down as much, rallying up near all-time highs, and compare that to Pfizer. That's what I look at. And because we are fee-based asset managers, so what that means is that you give us your money, we manage it based on your risk tolerance and your objectives, and if you are qualified to own individual stocks, we would do comparisons like this. If I say, I want to buy some of these drug stocks, which ones do I buy? Well, I want to buy the best. Not necessarily the best, but one of the best. Okay? Also, big news. All right, we'll talk about Facebook now because, and briefly, I don't want to get into it, but of course, Facebook is losing advertisers because of things that are going on with the Trump commentary on May 29th with regards to the George Floyd and some of the other victims of police brutality. They've lost some huge, huge advertisers. They've lost Verizon, they've lost Coca-Cola, they've lost Starbucks, they've lost Unilever, which is every product in the world, and they're losing a lot of customers. But yet, the stock took a 2-day retreat. So, not sure, but this is a stock chart on Facebook. You had the high here. It sold off. It did had a pretty big sell-off. I mean, the high there was 245. It dropped to, I'm looking at the low here, 207. But look, it's almost back at all-time highs. So, you can't keep them down. But I think eventually that the stock is going to get hurt because you can't lose. I mean, their advertising revenues are $70 billion, which is mostly all of their revenues. And they're not going along with what their customer base wants. So there's no place in this world for racism, in my opinion. There's no place in this world for anti-Semitic comments. So that's all I'm going to say. But I do want to say this. And there's no place in this world for which I really feel passionate about, because I'm a son of a cop. And there's no place in this world for anti-law enforcement, anti-military. I've said it, okay? If you don't like the military and you have a problem with law enforcement, and I'm not saying that there aren't some bad apples in law enforcement. It happens. There are bad apples in politics. There are bad apples in every business. Bad apples in my business, bad apples in real estate, bad apples in any business there are. But law enforcement, these guys, they give their lives. And when you are the son of a cop or the wife of a cop, there are things you think about when they're running late. And I dealt with that when there were no cell phones. So I'm just telling you that right now. And if you don't like my commentary on pro-law enforcement, pro-military, what I recommend you do is either A, defriend me, B, never listen to me again, C, if you're a client, you don't like it, leave, take your account, because I don't give a shit. It's more important that I stand up for something than be milquetoast and not stand up for something, because that's what I stand up for. Anyway, now, if you don't want to pay taxes, you want to defund the police department, how about this? Don't have access to 911. That would be great. I'm okay with that. I pay more. Okay, sorry. Just joking. Anyway, not joking. I'm serious, but it's just bullshit. So, let's talk about Boeing, and then we're going to wrap things up. You guys have been awesome tonight. Thank you very much. And I did not want to get into all this stuff. But let's go into... I'm going to talk about a couple other things, too. Jeez, come on. Give me the chart. Let's talk about Boeing. Okay, that's why. All right. Boeing. So, Boeing had the big run from the lows. It pulls back because travel has been an abomination. I just saw the Airbus laying off 15,000 people. Boeing had their tests on the 737 Air Max. That seems to be okay. UAL, or United Airlines, is saying that they want to beef up flights. Look, I think Boeing is probably going to be at these levels, and we do own some Boeing for clients. I don't own a lot of it. I mean, I own some that can assume some risk. I think at these levels, probably an opportunity. and the stock closed today at 180. I think anywhere around here, you're probably going to be okay with Boeing, but you have to be prepared to hold it. It could take 6 months, could take a year. And I believe the travel industry as we know it has changed. I just I think that a lot of folks have figured out that, well, if we don't have to pay for travel, or you mean airfare and hotel, but we could still get the same result or close to the same result by using Zoom or WebEx or any of those tools, then we probably should do that. And I think that's what's going to happen. So I think that the commercial part of the airlines industry is probably seen its peak. We are never going to see that type of travel again. So cash in those Delta miles, cash in those UAL miles, because that probably is going to change. That being said, there's still a place for travel. Now, when it comes to, and I get a lot of questions asked about the cruise industry. Hey, you know what? I don't know now. I'm not sure if I would go. I was saying, yeah, I'd go on a cruise probably in the fall. I'm not so sure I would. Here's my concern. They keep delaying things. I say, oh, July 31st. Oh, August 31st. Oh, September 30th. Now we're into, they probably won't cruise till October. What if? Because I look at it this way. I'm not retired. I work. What if I'm on a cruise and there's some kind of breakout of this COVID-19 or COVID-20 at that point, and I'm stuck on a cruise ship for 2 weeks, quarantined? Not sure I can do that. That would be a real problem with my dog, real problem with my business. So I thought I would go on a cruise, no problem. And then you think, I'll go a short cruise, no problem. Yeah, well, short cruises have contaminations as well. Would I fly? Yes, I think I would fly. I would wear a mask. I think most people say they would fly, wear a mask, sanitize, 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 sanitize. Who's capitalizing on this stuff? Our boys over at Appliance Direct. So, yeah, I think that you need to probably cruise lines. It's a trading vehicle, so you buy them cheap, sell them, but don't hold them there. I think it's going to take a while for them to get any kind of earnings so that they can produce a PE or a PE for the PE ratio. So I'm concerned about that. So I'll show you a couple charts there, and then we'll move on. But let's take a look. Okay, this is Carnival. Yes. Oh, come on, I hit the wrong buttons all the time. All right, let's go. Here's chart. It looked the same as Boeing. That's why. Carnival. You had it really hasn't done much. I mean, since the low it hit was 860. Yes, all right, it's doubled since then, but it had the big run to 25. It's back to that 16 level. They all look alike. Let's take a look at Royal. They look the same. I think the investor wants to see, hey, are they ever going to cruise again? Sometime soon. So I have those concerns. So that's why I'm not taking the speculation. I think hotels will be okay at some point, but not yet. We're still waiting on Disney and see if they're going to cave to the protesters. I don't mean the term like that, but I mean, are they going to cave to protesters? Because protesters do not want them to open July 11th or July 14th, which, by the way, is my mother's birthday, and she passed away a year ago, almost. So I'll be thinking of her on July 14th when Disney opens. That'd be great, because I have friends that really they need Disney to open. So let's take a look at Disney real quick. The stock, I think I would be a buyer of Disney. However, I'd like to buy a little cheaper. I do want to buy. Now Disney closed today at that was 113 and change, I think. Yeah, 113 and change. I'd like to own Disney at 100, because I think that if it does get delayed, you'll get that opportunity. If it doesn't, you won't get the opportunity. So that's what happens with that kind of shot. But if you own it, look, I sold my Disney at 124 or 125 several weeks ago. I thought that the opening would not go as smoothly. That's all. It was a trading vehicle for me. Was not an investor in it. I personally, yes. Clients, yes, that could have assumed the risk, but it was a buying it at 90, selling it. So that's why. Anyway, I really, first of all, appreciate everybody joining me today because you guys are awesome. And please share the video. And one thing is, I try. Where's my outro? I'm looking for my outro. Oh, there it is. I try not to get political because I don't want to. Because everybody has their personal feelings about that. I get it. And my personal feelings are up in the air right now. And what I want to thank is everybody for joining us. And our business, fortunately, has done well throughout this. And I know it's because of my staff has done a great job, and we've kept up with clients. So the people that have not done well throughout this whole, we'll call it bear market, we'll call it pandemic, we'll call it whatever you call it, my thoughts go out to you guys. We're here to help. If you lost your job, you have a 401k you need to work with and need help. First of all, you can take out up to $100,000 out of your 401k without penalty because of the CARES Act. That will help you. So we can help you get through that process. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.